All right, here we go. This is try number 4. I'm hoping try number 4 goes better than the first 3. Just to fill you in on what has happened for the first 3. After my first one, I realized how annoying my table was, and it was like there was like a sick little beat in the background that was just like helping me out while I was presenting. It was pretty awful. Second one, there was a truck pulling in next door, and all you could hear was beep, 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 beep for like a minute. It was super annoying as well. And then I almost got done my third try, and my neighbor's fire alarm went off. So then you heard that. It was awesome. All right, hopefully try number 4 goes better. This is the best one yet. The first thing that I did for you is I made a little cartoon of my 3 feelings with the coronavirus. So this is pre-coronavirus Mr. Kaphoria. Yeah, I was feeling pretty good. School was going great. Everything was pretty normal. Then coronavirus happened. We found out that we're going to do some online learning for the rest of the year. Originally, this was me. I have to move all my curriculum online. I have so much work to do. I'm scared. I don't know what's going to happen. But after some work and some time to just reason through it, I've kind of de-escalated, and I'm more here now. We're going to get through this, and we're going to do it with a little style, and I'm going to remain optimistic on how the last 8 weeks will go. So, with that being said, yes, we do have to do some learning. So, the new learning that we're going to do today, it's not really new learning, it's more review. This is the start of our new unit, and it's on radicals. But in order to be able to do radicals, we need to be super confident in our exponent rules. So this week is really just about you reviewing exponents so that we can be comfortable with radicals moving forward. So there are 8 rules. What we're going to do is we're going to go over one example of each rule. So the first rule that we have is the product rule. And the example that you have on your guided notes is x to the 4th times x to the 3rd. And we want to know what that is equal to. So based on the product rule, when we have the same term, an x and an x raised to a power, all we need to do is we need to add the exponents. So this is going to be x to the 7th. Okay, so there's example 1. So we're going to move over to example 2, which is part of the quotient rule. So the quotient rule says when you have a raised to the power of x divided by a raised to the power of y, it will become a to the x minus y. So the example that you have is y to the 6th. That's a y, even though it's funny looking. Y to the 6th divided by y to the 4th. And this is going to be equal to y to the 2nd, because I need to subtract the exponents. So we're flying through this. Here we go. Now we're on the power rule. Power rule, what that says, when we have a raised to the power of x to the y power, what we need to do is we need to multiply x and y and raise x or a to that power. A in our case. So the example that you all have is x to the 4th raised to the 3rd power. So what we need to do there is we need to take the 4 and the 3 and we need to multiply it together. So it's going to become x to the 12th. So the next one that we have is the power of a product rule. The next 2 rules is the power of product rule and the power of a fraction rule. What this is going to allow us to do is when we get into our radicals, it's going to allow us to do some simplification. So what the example that you have is you have x times y to the 5th, and what that is going to be equal to is x to the 5th, y to the 5th. Same thing over here. Power of a fraction rule. It's very similar. What we have as an example is x over y to the 4th, and this is going to be equal to x to the 4th over y to the 4th. So if you have questions about any of these, I should probably talk a little bit about how office hours are worked. So that class time that we have, I'm going to use it as a time for you to come in as needed and for you to just ask questions or check in. So it's really, I want to see you, but it's up to you to be using that time how you need it. So we have the negative exponent rule. What this says is if we have a raised to the negative x, what's going to happen is we're going to flip the a to the negative x and we're going to put it in the denominator. and we're going to make the power positive. So the example that we have is x to the negative third. And what this is going to be equal to, it's going to be equal to 1 over x to the third. So if we had, let's say as an example, just one more real quick just so you can see it. If we had 1 over x to the negative third, all we're going to do is we're going to flip it. So now, instead of the x to the negative third in the denominator, it's now just going to be x to the third. We're going to flip it and put it in the numerator instead of the denominator, and we're going to make our exponent positive. So we got 2 more rules to go through, and then you are going to be done with Monday. I hope what you've been doing with this is as you're watching this video, you're completing your guided notes. I think I might have said it, but then again, I'm not sure because this is my 4th try, so I don't really know what's been said in this video and what I said in the other ones. But I hope you're doing that as we go. So, fractional exponent rule. What we have as an example is we have x to the 2/3. And what this is going to be equal to, it's going to be equal to the cube root of x squared. So, based on PEMDAS, what we'd always do first is we do what's under our radical. So we do the x squared first, and then we take the cube root of it. What this is really for, if we just have an x here, we're just going to leave it like that. But if this were a number, we would do the squaring before we'd take the cube root of it. And then finally, the last rule we have is the 0 exponent, and what this says is anything raised to the 0 power is 1. The example that you have is x to the 0, and we know that x to the 0 is 1. So just be on the lookout. If you have anything to the 0 power, you know that that's going to be 1. So don't overthink that. To conclude, at the end of all this, I hope you're all doing well. The most important thing for me is to know that you guys are staying safe and you're doing well mentally. That being said, I hope to see you all in the sessions in the next few days. And if not, you'll be hearing from me in the next video next week. All right. Bye, everybody.